Joy Machine's Bike Shop was hosting a camp out up at Big Creek Park near Chardon, Ohio, the Sunday night before Memorial Day. They were leaving that Sunday morning from the shop at 8:30. Obviously, that's a little bit of a hike for us to get up that early, so we decided to leave from my studio at around 10 a.m. And we had about a 60-mile day, and we would just meet up and get a camp with them and stuff like that. Our route was a combination of 4 different bike trails, I believe, and then a lot of country roads. So it was a great route. We had a lot of good turnout. I think 7 of us camped, and then 2 of our friends, Ryan and Ping, joined us till we got to our lunch stop in Manway, and they broke off and made a route back. Anyways, when I was riding, I was kind of thinking of what the title of this video is, which is, bike packing, bike touring, what's the difference between these? And I was thinking about it, like looking at my bike, that's kind of a bike packing setup, which, got a gravel bike with a couple, no racks, couple bags, frame bag, stuff like that, 42 mil tires. But we were going to be mostly on pavement roads and paved bike paths and just crushed limestone towpath on the way home. So I'm like, that's more of a bike tour. But when it's just an overnighter, I think even touring conjures up the idea of a, multi-day adventure, riding across roads, riding across the country, Gap Trail, C&O, Ohio to Erie here would be something that I would think of when I think of bike touring. So I just always really have settled on the term bike camping. I just think it's the best that describes in general what you're doing without as much of the connotations. I think that the people who do serious bike packing, who, maybe live out west and stuff like that, are the ones who are most into the differentiating of the terms. But I think it does make sense to have different terms for different things. It's how we know what we're talking about. If I say I'm going mountain biking, do you want to join me? You're going to bring a mountain bike. And I think the same could apply to bike touring and bike camping and bike packing. But I think a lot of people don't really care. It's interesting is because I said I was thinking about this on the ride and I came up with this title then, but the Radavist, if you follow them, I can link it below, just put out an article about the same thing. I actually, as of recording this, have not read it yet. I just haven't had the time since we got back. But regardless, we had a really good time, and whatever term you want to give what we were doing. I do think that I want to do some more like bike packing the way, people intend that term when it came about, which would be, more gravel, off-roads, maybe some single track. And that's one of the purposes for the Gunner. And I've been working on exactly what I want that build to be. But for this trip, I rode the Raleigh. Like I said, it was going to be mostly road and pavement. Of course, I say that as we go over a dirt road here. But this was just like a mile or 2 section of the trip. And then there was a little bit of woods to get to the campground. But yeah, so I went with the Raleigh because I already know the setup. I know how I can set it up well. And the Raleigh is a great bike for pavement and a little bit of this kind of dirt stuff. So anyways, yeah, you can see out here that road used to be a thin gravel road, but then they're building that huge Amazon there, so now they're going to widen it and pave it, so we're going to lose one of our country gravel roads around here. But yeah, we had a great ride out. Like I said, great crew, like really pretty roads. A lot of the part of the trip is stuff we had done before, but I still ended up with, I think, 20 miles I hadn't ridden. So yeah, and a good crew. I think we were moving the whole time. I think overall on the trip, we ended up with like a 13 mile an hour average. People always ask me that kind of stuff. It's always hard to answer because we fluctuate. Sometimes you get going, we live somewhere where it's fairly hilly, but then we're on a rail trail where maybe we're getting closer to 14, 15 miles an hour for a while. This is a trail that runs between Garrettsville and Manway. We picked it up just only for a little bit on our way into Manway for lunch. There's this great spot there that we've been to now a couple times. It's like a deli butcher shop, but they make these great sandwiches. Yeah, it's called R44, and they have a coffee shop across the street. So we went in, ordered sandwiches and stuff like that, went over, anyone who wanted a coffee got one, and then we ate outside on the patio. So yeah, the sandwiches are just amazing. I can't believe I ate my whole sandwich right there. I think a lot of people ate half and then took the other half for later. But I also got some other supplies while we were there because they do really good bakery food as well. But yeah, if you're ever riding out through the country and this part of Ohio, Manway is a cool stop. And there's a couple busy roads that run into it, but there's a couple chill roads too. I think it's always cool to see how everyone else has set up their bikes, This is Aaron riding there. He has one of the Ron's bags, the really big one in the front, and then a Swift Zeitgeist in the back. Ben went with panniers. Aaron went with a more pared down setting. Brad has the mini Ortlieb panniers in the back there. So yeah, everyone kind of has their own thing. And it's one of the things I want to end up doing on this channel when we do some of these trips is maybe go through different people's setups. It just seems like that's something everyone's always really interested in, seeing how people decide to pack their sleep system, their tent, how much clothes they bring and all that. So yeah, subscribe for more of that in the future. I wanted to do some of that last year on our trips, but a lot of times you roll into camp and you just want to crack a beer, get the fire going, and relax. But yeah, definitely a future plan. This here is the Maple Highlands Trail. It was the last trail of the ride on the way up there, which takes us into Chardon. Once we got into Chardon, we stopped at the grocery store to get our supplies for the night. One of those things we've talked about, like riding bikes, doing bike camping in Ohio, is you're usually not too far off the beaten path. So besides the snacks we need and stuff like that, we usually don't pack all of our food with us. There's no reason to have to carry everything when you're going to be passing by places. A lot of times I do carry one of those camp meals that, backpacking meals that you can make with just boiling water in your little camp stove, kind of for emergency situations, or, you get hungry or later in the day and you've eaten, later in the evening you've eaten all your food. So, but yeah, so here we are at the Heinens just getting some beer, some sandwiches for the night. I know Ben and Mikey bought stuff to cook. I just got a bunch of stuff that was ready-made. Sometimes camp cooking could be fun. Other times you just want to, have it easy. And that's how I took this trip. It's vacation, it's Memorial Day, a little trip. So that's the way I went about it. It'll be interesting figuring out a setup if we do some more serious bike packing when you do have to carry your food, because it's not really something I've ever done. We do travel over holidays, so sometimes that does become a little more of a thing where you have to calculate in, is anything going to be open? But in general, we just stop. We like to go to restaurants, we like to go to breweries and all that kind of thing. It was cool at the park. They had these little lean-tos, so I didn't even set up a tent. I think 4 of us slept in there. There was 2 of them that Alex from Joy Machines had rented. So a couple people set up tents. Some people stayed in the lean-tos. But yeah, it was great to hang out with all the Joy Machines crew around the fire and just have a good night of chilling. On the way home, we rode with Joy Machines guys up to, I believe it was Eastlake, where they were stopping for their lunch. You'll see it coming up, but it was a Golden Girls themed diner. We didn't stop there because we still had a really long day ahead of us, and it was a little early in our ride, and we knew if we stopped there we would just have to stop again for a rest and food. So we decided to head on. But we still got a ride. This is just the ride out of the park, which was kind of cool. I guess there's about 5 miles of single track to ride here. I didn't ride any of it, but Ben and Mikey did, and other people went for a hike. After the 60-mile day the night before, I was just kind of ready to chill, and this day for us was going to be 80 miles. So like I said, we rode with the Joy Machines guys to that cafe, and then we rode into Cleveland, where we had our lunch at Noble Beast Brewing. Alex had made a really cool route when we were riding with him, and you could see these roads were pretty chill and enjoyable to ride. Then he helped us, before we took off, finish what our route would be to get us into the city. From Cleveland home, we were just going to take the Towpath Trail all the way, which runs directly between Cleveland and Akron through the Cuyahoga Valley. So perfect, easy solution. But I was really surprised after we broke off with them. We rode down Lakeshore Boulevard for a long time, all the way through Euclid. And it was a 2-lane road in a lot of places. And I don't know if it was just because it was Memorial Day, but it was actually really chill. Cars almost always got in the other lane to pass us. There was never a ton of traffic that made it where 2 did have to pass us at a time. So it was kind of cool. And then as we got near the lake, this day was supposed to get really hot. There was a cool breeze coming off the lake, but it was enough of a crosswind that it was also at our back. So not only did we not overheat, but we also had a nice wind pushing us along. It was really, really great because I've ridden along Lake Erie when you have the headwind, and it could be no fun. Actually, last year on this camp out, when we camped at Punderson State Park, we had a headwind coming back on the lake, and after, that was a long day too. It was just, as always, headwinds can just get exhausted, especially when you're already pushing a loaded bike over all these miles. And this was the first trip of the year for us to camp, and also, so the first, obviously, time that we were all riding with our loaded bikes. So anyways, that was the Golden Girls place where we broke off from the Joy Machines guys, and this is what I was talking about on Lakeshore Boulevard, where I thought, wow, this could be sketchy, but it wasn't. That right there is an old entrance. There used to be an amusement park back there, Euclid Beach Park. A couple of the rides are actually at Cedar Point now. Probably one of the world's most famous amusement parks, which is a couple hours away from here. But my parents actually used to go on dates back there, so I had to make sure I caught some footage as we went by the arch. There is a little park back there still. They just put in a new pier and stuff like that, and there's some remnants of the rides, just concrete foundations, but not too much. Anyways, here we are now on the bike path along the lake. This is one of the prettiest spots. I always say I don't think I take enough advantage of being this close to a great lake, because it truly is beautiful, and there's great swim spots and all that. So every year in the summer, I always make it one of my goals to get up to Lake Erie a little more, but I only end up doing it a handful of times. But so it's about, for us, if I was going to ride directly up to the lake or up to Cleveland, 35 miles. But some of the good swimming spots are a little farther out. So yeah, along the lake, this road is open, but it's always really slow. There's an airport on the lake, huge waste of space. Hopefully they get rid of it at some point, but blocks off the lakefront. Here we are at Noble Beast getting our lunch. By the time we rolled in here, I was so hungry. I'm not someone who gets hangry, but I am someone who gets super low energy and quiet. So Noble Beast has great food, and they were having their 6th anniversary party on Memorial Day. So perfect spot to go. They had a special menu, great food. I think they're some of the best beer in Cleveland and Northeast Ohio. So then we kind of have to cross over the Cuyahoga River here, and what the area that's the flats in Cleveland, to get over to the towpath. So yeah, once we were on the towpath, I think like I said, 35 miles left. I forgot we did stop for coffee after lunch. Smart. A bunch of people, and this is right by Joy Machines. I was actually waving to one of the guys we had camped with who was driving home in his car. So yeah, this is us dropping down to the towpath and now back on the path. The towpath through like a little bit of the industrial flats of Cleveland and the areas that are being redeveloped is paved. And then once you get into the valley, it more becomes crushed limestone for most of it. And it's been really dry, so it was super dusty. We all looked like pretty much ghosts after the ride being covered in the crushed limestone. So I think I'm going to leave it at that. I'll let you enjoy the rest of the ride down the towpath with some Mike Gutterman to take us out. Linked below. The music's always linked below, and so are the Strava routes. If you're ever curious and want to see where we're riding, you want to ever check out the musicians and support them, please do. Also, if you want to support the channel, we got some cool stickers and stuff below. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it, and consider a channel membership. I've been making more and more bonus content and been trying to focus on getting some special videos out for the members, who I truly appreciate. Makes it possible to make this many videos. So yeah, until next time, see you out on the road.